Welcome to the first video of our series. We will take you through the online training on trans inclusion in National Strategic Plans, or NSPs for short.
This introduction chapter aims to share the background and reality experienced by trans activists with regards to their country's NSP.
And we will tell you how the guide was developed, share information about the activist guides and the resource manual, which you can use as a handy guide when you intend to engage on the NSP-related advocacy and work. In every country with available data, trans populations are among the most at-risk groups for HIV. In 2017, global HIV prevention among trans people was approximately 13 times higher than among cisgender adults. Despite this, trans populations are frequently not included in national data collection efforts or recognized by national governments as a priority population in their HIV responses. As a result, meaningful inclusion of trans people in NSP processes is rare, and this exclusion continues to contribute to poor HIV-related health outcomes among a population and the comparative low levels of trans-specific funding and programming.
Lack of meaningful engagement also leads to ineffective approaches to HIV programming, creating an enabling environment and leveraging the positive impact of including gender-affirming services in increasing the uptake of HIV services, improving economic livelihoods for trans people, addressing hostile legal policies, and other priority areas for trans communities are often overlooked. To change this, it's important that trans organizations understand and utilize the links between NSP engagement and their existing organizational goals. This will allow us together to move towards achieving the levels of engagement necessary to achieve the changes we need.
For this, we prepared two guides, one for governments and another for activists. The information comes from our desk review, 45 trans activist survey responses, interviews with trans activists, government officials and donors, as well as a validation meeting. Our online training will focus on the activist guide and resource manual. We will zoom in on key information needed for activists who are started to engage with NSP advocacy. We have listened to the challenges that trans activists often face in this work and will begin by giving an overview of the 9 recommendations we offer to get you and your organization started.
It's important to understand how trans people are addressed by the NSP currently. Knowing exactly where and how trans people are being excluded will help you in planning your advocacy. Review and become familiar with your country NSP.
Map out and understand key processes for engagement in NSP development. To be able to act strategically, it's important to map out key decision-making processes, key stakeholders, and networks relevant to NSP development. Gaining a clear understanding of what this looks like in your own context can serve as a useful reference point for planning your engagement in the short, medium, and long term.
Consider ways to expand collaborative, participatory, partnership-based approaches. Trans activists working on NSP engagement have indicated that collaboration with other KP-led organizations, networks, and actors has been an entry point to starting to hold governments accountable in this area and have found value in coordinating work across sectors. Get to know others active in this area of work.
Advocate for and/or engage in data collection. Data collection and evidence is often an inescapable part of public health advocacy. While more research reveals the need to increase targeted resources for HIV prevention, care, and treatment for trans people globally, a lack of data domestically is a barrier to understanding the exact degree of scale-up that is needed. Activists can advocate for and engage in gathering population estimates and accurate data on various areas relevant to the HIV response.
Don't wait to get invited to engage. Advocate for engagement. In many countries, trans people are excluded from NSP processes from their inception. If you're not being included where you are, don't wait for an invitation to engage. Actively plan for an advocate. Think about the different tactics and advocacy tools you are already familiar with and have experience in to do this. Get creative and organize.
Submit NSP revision requests. In your next NSP cycle far off, has your government not released any public information on the revision process? There is no need to wait for your next NSP cycle. Assess the current NSP, outline the gaps, and submit an NSP revision request. You can also consider other actions like monitoring and evaluation the effectiveness of current interventions for trans populations.
Organize community consultations or community dialogues for NSP input. One challenge for trans organizations to participate in NSP processes is the low level of community awareness. Let's come up with ways to ensure that we bring our communities with us and that we leave no one behind.
Collaborate with governments in awareness raising and training development. The lack of holistic and context-relevant understanding of the trans community is a significant barrier to inclusion. Consider organizing awareness-raising sessions or sensitization training on the trans community for your state officials. You could also host dialogues where you give space for interaction between the trans community and government stakeholders involved in the NSP process.
Make your voice heard. Create a communication strategy. How will you make your voice heard? What messages are the most important for you to get out there? Who is your target audience? What platforms are available to you to use? How can you draw the attention of decision makers to this issue and keep it there? Reflect on how you have successfully drawn attention to an issue important to the trans community before.
Are you interested in learning more? Join us in the next chapter where we'll go into details about how to review an NSP document and how the NSP processes work.